Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, we discuss Nintendo's sizable awards haul from the Game Awards, talk about the future of the Mega Man series, the new Zelda DLC, and more.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to Nintendo Directors Podcast, episode 3011. We've done 11 of these since we did the first 3,000. It's December 14th that you're listening to this. December 14, 2017. We're recording this on Monday, December 11. But we've got a lot of cool things happening this week, and we're excited to talk about them. In fact, we've got a really extra special thing at the end of this episode that is going to be a lot of fun. So, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're just going to have to listen and find out. So, let's see. We've got I don't know. I should introduce us. By the way, I'm Mark, and my co-host here is Brad. And we are reconnecting on FaceTime right now, and I actually talked through that. So we had a disconnect. We had a disconnect there, but if you kept recording, then we're good to go.
This is off to a great start.
This is. Were you still recording though?
I was still recording.
Perfect.
Yes.
We don't even have to edit this out. But anyways, there was one awkward silence where I was like, I don't know if I'm saying anything to like set this up for him well. So, but that's all right. So
I thought at least you didn't. Did you introduce me? I don't even know.
I did. I introduced us. But so say hello. So
hello. Greetings and salutations.
Yes, this is a very professional podcast. Gets the Nintendo seal of approval. So,
ooh, yeah. I hear that's world renowned.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, but we've got some cool things we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about a really cool, fun thing at the end, which again, no spoilers on what that is. You're going to have to listen to find out what we're going to do at the end of this episode, but it'll be exciting.
Ta-da.
Yeah,
you'll like it.
Yep. So, how's that?
Lots of fighting. And bickering.
Yes. So I'll probably disconnect on purpose at that point. So.
Essentially.
Yeah. So anyways, why don't we get on with things here and get to the news? Take it away, Brad.
And the news this week is brought to you by the moldy chicken in my refrigerator because my roommates forgot about it. Very delightful.
It's become sentient and is now sponsoring the news. Wow. That's pretty sweet.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
All right. So first up, Mega Man X through X8 coming to the PS4, Xbox One, the Switch.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and
so
PC.
Mega Man is not dead.
No, and Mega Man 11 was announced, and it looks so good. It looks so good. So,
so this is, I honestly am not the hugest Mega Man fan. So Mega Man X, those were the ones on the Super Nintendo?
X.
Or the X series.
The
or
X series.
Was that PlayStation?
It began on the Super Nintendo, and it went through to the PlayStation, I think, 2? I don't know.
Okay.
I did stop playing Mega Man X after X3, which was on the Super Nintendo. So
I didn't play any of those games. I think I played my Mega Man experience is limited to like the first 6 games, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
On the NES.
The NES.
They were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Really good games. And fantastic soundtracks.
So these are there have been so many of them in general. And so this is X through X8. That's just a lot. Isn't Mega Man, number by number, like the most prolific game in terms of like not spin-offs and actual like mainline series games?
It might be.
I think I've heard that at one point.
I wouldn't be surprised. I bet it would top Mario. The only one I wonder if it tops Final Fantasy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's been. I mean, if you think about it, let's see. There was 6 on the NES.
Yeah, I guess
8 here.
I guess we're at 19, and then are we counting like Rockman and Bass, or Bass and Forte or whatever those were called? There were a couple like more strategy type games. Yeah. Okay. Regardless, there have been a lot of.
I don't know.
I think that might have been a Game Boy Advance. I don't know. Lots of Mega Man, and Mega Man 11 looks fantastic. So I'm pumped for that one. I'm going to buy it. I will absolutely get that. It to me it looks like everything I want a Mega Man game to be, but polished and much better than whatever. I can't even remember the name of the Kickstarter game that was made by the Mega Man.
Mighty Number 9.
Yes, which had so much promise.
Mighty Number 9.
Oh man, not good.
Now, okay, you mentioned looks good. They changed up the art style for Mega Man 11.
They did.
Any comment on that, or what do you think of it?
Honestly, I looked at it late at night,
as opposed to the Pixel 8.
Yeah, I looked at it late at night. Might have been last night or 2 nights ago, right before I was going to bed. And all I remember thinking is, this looks cool. And I was A-okay with how it looked. So I
Great.
Obviously, I've always enjoyed the pixel look, but it looks, man, it just looks right. So if they're going to polish it up, I think they did a good job of that. So, all right. And by the way, there was a slight hiccup there in connection again. So edit, splice, here we go. We're jumping right in with some Zelda DLC, which is our second news item. And Brad, why don't you take it away and talk about some Zelda DLC?
Well, this all has to do with a later story we're going to talk about. It was revealed at the Game Awards.
Woohoo!
Big show that's coming up. That's come every last 3, 4, 5 years now. It's been going for a while. It's a cool show, and they in the midst of the awards, they like to reveal lots of things and new trailers and whatnot. So this is actually, a lot of people suspected this might be when Nintendo finally blew the lid off their DLC, and it was in fact true. They had continued to insist that it was going to be available this calendar year, and so not only did they announce it, they released it. That it was available that night, so that was pretty slick.
That was awesome.
Yeah, especially considering the results of the Game Awards, which we're going to get to later. So this is, it's of course what they told us long ago. It's called the Champion's Ballad, and as far as I understand, I haven't played it yet, but as far as I understand, it allows you to play the 100 years before in the prequel times, I guess, to the main game. And when the champions and Link went to fight Ganon the first time, and so you get to do a little deeper dive in each of the characters, the 4 different champions that were there at that time, and I'm excited to play it. I just am not going to play it for probably about a year because I've got a lot of Zelda to play, and actually I've heard just from other people who have played it that if you've been waiting to beat Ganon and stuff, and like they say you should finish everything you want to do in the main game, then do the DLC, then go fight Ganon.
Sure.
Because it's all it's all prequel, obviously, so it's still before the events of the main game. So
yeah.
So it looks cool. I honestly don't know what the makeup of the areas. If there's new areas or if it's all in the same world, but they just at an older time. I don't know if I honestly don't really know a ton about it. So someday I'm sure I'll look at it. But for now, I just kind of have to go off of what I hear, and I didn't really want to hear too much from other people about their experiences with it. But what about you, Mark? Are you gonna play?
I'm absolutely gonna play, and I'm. It's tough. I don't know if I want to play it over break. We've got Christmas break coming up, or if I want to wait until I've beaten a few other games, because I've got a lot of games on there that I want to get through. It's a tough call. I don't know, but I'll probably wind up. I know I'll wind up getting it
right.
over break, and then I might. The problem is, I know if I start playing it, I'm going to neglect every other game until I've completed the DLC. So
story of my life.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I do want to just say, motorcycle. Shoulder shrug emoji. Like
yeah.
I mean, I don't like. I guess.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was actually like kind of mad. I was like, "What the heck is this? They're gonna destroy the whole atmosphere,
Right.
the mood of this, or whatever." And then they announced that it was only available after you'd beaten the DLC, and I was like, oh, thank
Yes.
goodness! Like
Yeah.
this is something after all of the story stuff is done. You can just then it's much more of a just giving you the keys to the game, letting you mess around and have a good time.
Right. If it does feel a little weird, but I did like seeing it kind of almost scaling a sheer cliff. Then like okay, yeah. It makes okay. That's kind of cool. So I mean, it's Nintendo with Zelda. I'm not gonna say like you're destroying my childhood. Like,
right.
They've never done that once, and I don't anticipate that happening.
Wait,
so,
you didn't find the ATV in the original Zelda? Come on.
I did find the tractor trailer, but I didn't get the ATV. So,
but did you bring it to the tractor pull and?
The mudding section where that's really sweet. So it's one of my favorite parts of the game. Ganon is not a good
right
driver.
Before Ganon,
right. So yeah, no, I mean motorcycle, yay? Question mark. So
yeah.
Anyways,
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Zelda. It's more Zelda though, so
I'm not gonna complain. They, honestly, they could turn it into Grand Theft Auto with the amount of vehicles, and I'd still go, yeah, it's Zelda. I'll play it. So, yeah.
Oh dear.
So why don't we talk about next up? Let's see. Why don't you take the next news item?
All right, sweet. So there is a story that I just found a few hours ago, actually. That says this is from Nintendo Everything, and the title essentially says Square Enix is interested in bringing past games from their catalog to the Switch.
Final Fantasy VI.
That'd be nice.
Sorry,
it'll probably never happen because it's already on the Super NES Classic, but
right.
Which I still haven't actually gotten to, by the way. I haven't played a whole lot of that console at all. Not because I don't want to, just Mario, Zelda,
Switch,
all the things.
Yes.
Switch, exactly. I will, maybe over break a little bit. We'll see. Anyway, so this is again just an article from, I don't remember if it was a press conference they had or if it was just an interview, but essentially there was an executive sort of talking about their desire to bring more of the games to the Switch, and that's awesome. I do. Obviously, there's plenty of great games that Square Enix has made over the years, and so it'd be great. One interesting quote from the executive. This is I'm going to butcher this. Yosuke Matsuda.
Sure.
Yosuke Matsuda.
Sure.
There it is. And he was saying we want to get these games out digitally. It just makes sense onto them. I'm paraphrasing that. But the quote that he says in the second part is quote, so we think that program I think that's a typo, of just porting and transferring the older titles over to newer platforms such as the Switch is very important, so that people get awareness of their backlog. Just here it is. Just straight ports isn't cutting it. We need to update those and modernize them to make something that works for modern gamers too.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That's pretty sweet. I mean, because honestly, the Secret of Mana update that's coming out looks fantastic. Did that already come out?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think it's early 2018 or something like that. So, but if they
have you heard? Are there new features to it? I mean, what?
Just all I've seen is the graphical update, which what I'm really hoping is that they'll allow you to toggle between, like, if you want to choose to play pixelated like the original look, great, and then here's the new polished look, because there's a charm in the pixel, but the new look is really quite nice. So
sure,
yeah, no, that I'm excited because I love Square Enix. I mean, a good portion of my childhood gaming was through Square, so that's I'm excited for that. So
awesome.
Yeah,
they have lots of great stuff, and maybe, again, probably unlikely because of the graphical limitations, but maybe this could mean, in addition to the old stuff, they'll bring new things like a Kingdom Hearts 3 or
Final Fantasy 7 when that re-releases.
Oh yeah, the remake.
Yep.
Unlikely, also, but
unlikely.
You never know.
Yeah. Yep. So
very unlikely, but we can dream. We can dream.
Yep. the whatever the studio.
Don't take that from me, dude.
Whatever what's the name of the studio? I'm blanking on the name of the studio that ported. I think they did both Doom and Rocket League. that were the like the intermediary to port that to the Switch.
Was it Blue Point? I know they do a lot of
I don't think
remasters and things.
I don't think so. Maybe I'm blanking on the name.
Okay.
Anyways, maybe they'd be up to the task if anyone was, because what they did with Doom was pretty incredible. So.
Right.
So.
Or, yeah, that game.
That's
crazy that it can run on the
right. It's insane. So
on the Switch.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So yeah. But anyways, next up, there was a little thing called the Game Awards, and
becoming bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and
Year.
Nintendo, they were there. They had a presence, and they did okay.
You think just okay?
Yeah. Why don't we start from the bottom up on this list that we have here? So.
Okay. So here are the awards. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no. So let's do every other. So best handheld game was a Nintendo game, Metroid: Samus Returns. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well deserved. Not a ton of competition, but in terms of Nintendo publishing things, but. Hey, it's a Metroid game. It gets the recognition that it deserves, and that's awesome.
And Cat Quest was originally iOS. I mean, that's that's handheld. So that's a lot of fun on Switch, by the way. But anyways, you take the next one.
Yeah. Best strategy game: Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This actually surprised me quite a bit.
Yeah.
I know that it kind of blown up, in social media and stuff, and people were really excited about it. But it was up against another one of the series that I really enjoy, like Total War.
Yeah.
Like a heavy strategy game that's been around for a long time. And so I guess, again, actually, I did find this game, Mario plus Rabbids. I actually, it's upstairs right now waiting for me to play. I found it at my local library.
Wow.
And it was free. So I have it for about 2.5, 3 weeks, and I'm going to play it for sure at some point, see what all the fuss is about. But yeah, I was really impressed, and I can only imagine. And I think XCOM 2 was on this list as well too. So again,
was it really? For some reason I thought it was
huge hitter.
Wow.
Or maybe it was.
No.
Either way,
no, but yeah.
A lot of big hitters in the strategy genre, and so I mean, I can't take anything away from Mario plus Rabbids. I've heard it's an amazing game and all that, but I wonder if just like the novelty of the whole story behind the game helped propel more of these. The people who vote on it, the media outlets and all that, to kind of, we want to recognize this game.
Yeah.
For beating all of the odds.
Right.
Just totally beating them. So, but yeah, another Nintendo game, the best strategy game, Mario plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battles.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and then the best family game was Grand Theft Auto. No, it actually was another Nintendo game, Super Mario Odyssey. Best family game. Not a surprise because Mario and so good. So good.
So my thought was this actually was the only category that Mario won something in.
Right.
And it was nominated for several.
Spoilers, we're getting there.
Oh yeah, hang on now. But it was just interesting because best family game, such a weird category.
It is.
hard to quantify, hard to. Yeah, I mean, you're almost like, yeah, thank you, I guess.
Right. I feel like it's a category where they probably came up with the category just for the event that. If there's ever a year where a Zelda game launches alongside a Mario game, we need to be able to give Mario something. So
right,
and deservedly so. But
right,
yeah. So
that's awesome. All right, so best game direction, and I think there was another. I missed a word from that, but yeah, it was like vision or overall something. Yeah. So this essentially goes to the leadership of the team that made the game and their vision for everything that kind of goes along with that. This was given to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Totally deserved.
Yeah.
I think
completely.
And not only is it a fantastic game, but I think I may have mentioned this on the show before. I think it is incredible because I remember reading this before, and when the initial reviews of the game were coming out. Just people being so astounded that, Eiji Onuma, of course, the lead director on this and basically every Zelda game for the last 15, 20 years, it's incredible that the same director made this game as made Skyward Sword,
Right.
the last one. Just in terms of the overall
Scope of it.
and like, Breath of the Wild is so different than every other Zelda game. It's and yet it retains its Zelda-ness, but he was allowed to just, maybe this is just the Zelda game he's always wanted to make. Over these last, long as the series was starting to get just a little bit on the formulaic side. Skyward Sword was still an amazing game, and it was, I think it had, honestly, I think it had some of the best dungeons of that old style, ever made, and some of the best bosses. But it still for me fell short a little bit, because I remember just flying around in that vast open space and thinking, oh, this is so great and so cool, and then just finding nothing there. It was just space, just flying. So once you get over the novelty of that soaring music and your bird and just going in there, you'd find like the dozen or half so places that you could land, and that was about it. And then you kind of had to go back to the other places there.
Right.
But yeah, Breath of the Wild, just so astonishingly much larger and more diverse and open, and obviously so much has been said about the way it's revolutionized open world games and such, but we can talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally, in terms of the game direction, I think they knew exactly what they wanted to do, and they executed on it phenomenally.
Yeah, they did. That's a most deserving award for them. And then best action adventure game was Dusty Diamond's All-Star Zelda Breath of the Wild. Zelda Breath of the Wild. Surprise, surprise. No one was surprised. Yeah, that.
I don't even remember what the competition was for that, but
it didn't matter.
Right.
This was the worst year to release a great action adventure game if you wanted to get recognition.
Yeah, right.
Because it was all gonna go to Zelda. So
right.
Yeah.
I think maybe Horizon Zero Dawn might have been in that category.
I would bet. Which I've heard really good things about, but
yeah, that's another game I'm gonna get from the library over Christmas break.
Oh, nice.
Dig into a little bit if I ever have time.
Yeah.
Outside of Mario and Zelda, but it looks great. I want to try it, but definitely, I can't imagine, it really there was any competition there for that. So.
Yeah.
And then the final, well, there were plenty more awards, of course, but the final award that Nintendo got, this is one of six awards that they were given, was Game of the Year, and that was, of course, Mark, help me out here.
Dusty Breath of the Wild, Zelda.
Dusty Breath of the Wild. Yeah, obviously, there were some incredible other incredible experiences, other incredible games on this list. Obviously, Horizon was there. Super Mario Odyssey was on the list. Yep. I think Wolfenstein 2 was on.
I bet, yeah.
The list, and what was the other one? PUBG.
Oh.
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Yep. Also, very hot game these days. But man, and honestly, for me, we can talk more about that next time, I guess. But it's pretty clear that this is extremely well deserved as well. Just the monumental success of the reinvention of Zelda, and yet just so much stuff to do and so engaging. You never feel bored.
Yep.
There's always something else to do.
Yep.
So
agreed. So yeah.
So great.
Nintendo cleaning up at the Game Awards. Pretty sweet. So
that's awesome. So
you go
one
ahead.
more thing at the Game Awards. Yeah, one more thing at the Game Awards. We mentioned the different announcements and things that come up in the trailers and all that. And that was that. First of all, they told us that Bayonetta 2 was going to be on Switch, and that of course is the game that was released on Wii U and published exclusively for Wii U because Nintendo saved it, and it also included the original game on it.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But even beyond that, it was kind of a fun moment. Like they were just about, I'm sure it was planned, obviously, but Jeff Keighley, the host of the show, who's done a great job kind of transforming this and creating it each year and making it better and better, he's kind of like getting ready to move on to the next thing, and then he was interviewing Reggie, and Reggie was like, "Do you think we'd really just come on here with one announcement this this time?" And so then they played the next trailer, and yeah, sure enough, very teaser trailer, not any gameplay really or anything, but yeah, it said Bayonetta 3, and so this is great news for fans of the series. I've never played any of them. Not really my style.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people. I know the second game I think got extremely high reviews.
Really
IGN
high.
Yeah, it was like 9.5 on IGN or something crazy like that.
I actually played the demo for it, and the over the top explosions and art style and the smoothness of the playability of it, and I was just like, this is an incredible action game. Like, it's just it's also over the top sexualized, but when you boil it down, you've got a really like finely tuned action game. And the fact that Bayonetta 3 is coming to the Switch, I mean, it has its legion of fans, and after playing the demo for 2, I get why the fans are so loyal to it. It's they do really good work making those games. So,
and I really hope that this does super well and gets a new life on the Switch. Now that it has the audience, obviously, and so, and I already hear the crying from the PlayStation and Xbox people. They're like, "You still kept it on the Nintendo thing. They're the stupid knockoff."
Yeah, they did,
but you know what?
Everyone else is jumping ship and
not
coming
even
to the
Bayonetta
Switch.
2 would exist if it wasn't for Nintendo.
Right?
So
exactly. Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep.
Deal with it.
No kidding.
So that was that was our last story for the week. Not a ton of news, but hey, good news.
Yeah. Lots of good news.
Not Metroid, Mega Man, and Zelda, and awards, Bayonetta, all kinds of good stuff. So
yep. Yeah.
But
cool. Well, why don't we wrap up news and move on to what we've been playing. What we've been playing. I've been playing some Mario Odyssey, and I beat the Metro Kingdom, and it's so cool.
Amazing?
It's so cool. So I actually, that's the last thing I did in Mario Odyssey, and I'll probably get back to it this coming weekend. But it's, man, that game is amazing. It's really, really, really beyond decent.
Can we do like a 2.5 minute just like spoiler cast about that ending section of Metro Kingdom?
Yeah, do we
right
now?
Let's just warn our listeners, like, if you don't want to hear anything about the ending of Metro Kingdom,
skip ahead 2 minutes.
Tune out for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yes.
Ready?
Go. All right, man. So good.
Donkey Kong.
Yes, side scrolling and 2D, and it's so
and the
good.
song, man.
It was so good.
The
Yeah,
song.
you get to hear it on loop, and coins everywhere and barrels coming at you, and it
was just such a beautiful literal
Yes.
celebration.
Yes.
Of Mario and his past, and man, I was so pumped. Like, you go through those different sections of the 2D sections, and then you literally play through the first. I almost said the first measure. The first level of. Sorry, music nerd. The first level of Donkey Kong, and then you get to the top, and you take down the Donkey Kong, and then you come up on the top.
Yep.
And then you're in that party, and she's singing. Man, it was just like a perfect, that was brilliant right there.
It was
just incredible.
I don't think they could have capped off that kingdom any better, and
Exactly.
I'm really excited to see how the rest of the game is going to unfold, because it could have ended right there, and I would have been like, oh, come on, that's the shortest Mario game ever, and it's really good. It was really good, so I can't be mad. But I mean, the fact that there's more to it, like, I'm just eager to see. But yeah, Donkey Kong. Oh man, it was updated Donkey Kong, like new levels in Donkey Kong, and we're all almost to 2 minutes, so I'll just say Donkey Kong one more time. Okay, sorry. And spoiler section done. Bam.
Yes.
All right, so
Go play that game.
yeah, Mario Odyssey. It's really, really good. So I've played a bunch of that. I also played, got together with some friends and played some Rocket League
Oh, fun.
and
Local.
local.
Yep.
And then also
Awesome.
did snipper clips. And in both of those games, like,
You pulled a Karen
what's a
and you went on the roof and you got them. You gave them Joy-Cons and you played.
geez, yeah, Karen from the trailer. No, no,
No.
but
Okay. Do they have their own switches?
yes, we had one extra switch.
Okay.
But I love snipper clips. I didn't play. I just let them play because they hadn't played it yet and they didn't even know what it was. And we were all just in tears laughing. That game is so good. I'm really looking forward to getting back into it and actually beating all of the content for it. But yeah, so we did that, and then Rocket League. I'm getting to the point now where, like, when I first started playing, it was fun, and I knew I was bad, and I knew that I was making people on my team upset, and I didn't care because it was just fun, and I'm driving around
Right.
with a rocket attached to me playing soccer with a car. Like, that's a great idea for game. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm seeing how to do techniques and just missing on hitting the ball how I want to. So it's not as fun. It's more frustrating now. But that's not to say that I don't enjoy.
You're starting to learn though.
Yeah, like it makes me want to get better. So like, it's not like the unbright.
The twisting is I remember the next level where you start to be like, just the subtle tweak.
Yep.
To the while you're spinning in the air or something.
Yeah, how to like essentially kick the ball. Like, yeah. So it's not pure unbridled joy of naivete anymore. It's just
right.
But it's really fun, and man, that game is good. So I'm going to be playing a lot of that coming up here. But yeah,
Awesome.
So that's pretty much what I've been playing. A little bit more Cat Quest. But
very cool.
So
for me, I have been playing basically exclusively Mario, and I am closing in on my goal of trying to get every moon.
Whoa.
I know, right? So from what I understand, there are 880 moons that you can get, and then you can buy up to 999. Like the counter stops at 999. So of course I have to do that, which means I need to get a lot more coins because there's still a bunch of outfits and things that I still need to buy, and they're very expensive. So I've got lots of coins to collect, but I've got plenty of time to do that still. I think I hit 793 earlier today.
I'm at 158, if that gives you an indication. So
that's normal for where you're at. That's normal. So the thing is, like I mentioned last week, I'm at the point where I'm really having to just keep digging into these worlds and really find the hard stuff. I have finally started talking to the Talkatoo.
Yeah.
And the Talkatoo gives you the basic name of the moon that you get, like the briefest, most vague description of what it is. And that's super helpful, and I don't feel like it's really cheating. I mean, you could, I guess, just keep searching around, but I don't want to wait that long.
It's not cheating if it's in the game,
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the next level of that, like if I get to a point where I'm really just not figuring this out, I haven't really looked into it because I haven't tried it yet, but there's a toad you can talk to who you pay 50 coins for, and he gives you a hint, which I imagine is sort of like the next level, peel off the next layer.
Right.
And then there's even a place where you can scan an amiibo and get a hint. Maybe that's just a free way to get the 50 coin hint. I don't know.
I wonder if that's the Mario cereal amiibo, which didn't Mario cereal came out today? Didn't it come out today?
In theory, although I have heard that some people haven't been finding it, so
okay.
We'll have to see. I definitely am I'm buying groceries later this week, so we'll have to check that out because it will be consumed if it's available.
Yeah, it will.
So yeah, I'm having a good time with that. I've started doing this. What would you call it? Like, it's a process of going from kingdom to kingdom and just getting a few more in each, and basically whittling it down to the least obvious ones. Starting to use the Talkatoo hint, and so I'm probably there's like 2 or 3 kingdoms that I'm like totally done with. There's 3 or 4 of them that I need like 2 or 3 more moons in. I mean, I'll say between 2 and 8 moons,
Sure.
And then there's some that I just have lots of moons left.
Yeah.
But I did find in one kingdom, there's over 100 moons in this place, and I was like, I've already combed this place a lot. Well, if you discover a certain area of it, you'll figure out why, and because I can't say any more than that.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get a lot more moons pretty quickly, actually. So and I'm still enjoying it. I love the joy of discovery, of working through, like just the other day I was in this one kingdom, in the Snow Kingdom, I think, and I remember just looking at this one spot over and over. I was like, I know this looks different. It's different from the surrounding. It's got to be something different. But I had to get up to this. I had to get up to this high ledge, and I'm like, great, I'm on the high. I finally got up to the high ledge. I had to do some fancy footwork, with the cap and the dives and the
Yep.
jumps and all that. But I finally got up there. I'm like, sweet, I finally made it. Oh, but the thing I need is over on the far side over there. How the heck am I supposed to get over there? It was one of those kind of things. And then I finally was kind of remembering, oh, wait a second. What about those guys that blow you over and they do this thing, and then I wonder if I captured one of that. And then all of a sudden I had the answer. It's just one of those like, oh, I'm a genius.
Yep.
But really not.
Nintendo is a genius.
Yeah,
so
Nintendo's a genius. Yeah, because they wanted you to go through that process. So it's been super fun. Again, it's getting slower. And I am tempted to pop into other games here and there. Haven't done it yet, but every time I get tempted to, I just open Mario for just a minute or two, and then all of a sudden I'm just engaged again. And it's like, I got to get this next thing. I got to figure out where this is, because I really want to finish it. So, and then I can go back to Zelda.
Yeah. Yep.
So other than that, I haven't really been playing a ton else. Oh, public service announcement. If you haven't heard, and we talked about this last week, but Ukulele is very, very soon to be coming out. I just got my backer code today.
Oh, cool.
And so it is preloading on my Switch, if not totally done already. On my Switch right now, it doesn't release until Thursday, but it's ready to go as soon as that comes. So
I watched a video of the first 30 minutes of it.
Oh, okay.
While I was eating breakfast yesterday morning, and it looks
nice.
There are parts of it that feel 90s, which
is the goal.
Yeah. Yep. But aesthetically, I'm more okay with it after seeing some of the long duration gameplay. Because at first I was like, oh, this looks good, but then as I was looking into it more, I'm like, it just doesn't look like it has the polish of a major title. But
because it didn't have 5 years of polish.
Right. But I think they did a good job based on what I saw. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are once you get into it. So.
Yeah, once I
after
finish
Mario Zelda DLC,
and Mario Rabbids. So yeah,
next,
call me in episode 4011.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. That's right, everybody. We got 1,000 episodes for you of just Mario and Zelda.
That's right.
Which is probably what the stereotype would be of a Nintendo podcast, anyways. So.
Fun fact: we are the longest running podcast on iTunes.
I know, that's amazing. It's amazing. We predate iTunes. So
that's right. That's right. We should actually do the math on that when we actually started this.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
we know. We just need to.
We were there.
Yeah, we were there. Totally.
Refresher.
Yeah. We'll figure that out with some deep math. We'll get to you next episode on that.
All the math.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess that's kind of what we've been playing. We could get into our bonus topic for the day then. So.
Ooh. That sounds
fun. So let's do that, and let's not have any bumper on this. Let's just jump right into it. So
jump in.
So
Great.
Here we go. This is your special segment for the week, and it is each of our top 5 GameCube games, and it's
and why he's wrong.
And well, I'm absolutely right. So, but let's get into this. So I'm gonna go right now. Well, let's do each of our honorable mentions. So we had a hard time whittling it down to just 5 for each of us. So
okay, wait, hold on. Let's clarify a few things first. First of all, neither of us know what the other actually chose at this point. And I also actually meant to ask you this, Mark. We're not. I'm assuming we're not considering like collections or,
Correct.
like a Sonic Mega Collection or something.
Correct.
That would not fall into our thing.
Right. That's not
Okay,
on there.
or compilation or that. Okay,
Right.
good. So so this basically goes for any GameCube game that was released on the system, and so we have our top 5, but of course there's so many great games, and so we have a couple honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Well, okay. So I'll do an honorable mention, and you do an honorable mention, and we'll go back and forth through
Okay.
honorable mention. I have 3 honorable mention. Do you?
I have, yes, 3.
Great. Oh, that worked out. So so my first honorable mention game that I'm going to mention is, and don't bark at me for this. There's a reason why. My first one would be Metroid Prime, and
Woof.
I wait. I know.
Woof.
Just hear me out on this.
I will.
It's the reason why is because I like Metroid Prime so much, but I love that it comes. And I know this breaks our first rule already of a collection. But if we ever do a Wii list, the fact that you can get the Metroid Prime collection of all 3, and the way that it worked, because once I played it with the Wiimote and Nunchuck, I liked it even more. So that would be on my Wii list. But for GameCube, because of that, I'm going to leave it off of my GameCube list.
That absolutely breaks our rules.
Whatever. I made the rules for my own list. So
no, we just made the rule. The listeners just heard it.
It doesn't apply to this because it's not the game. We're talking about GameCube list, so I'm not including a collection on my GameCube list. So,
my
word. Seriously, once I played it with the Wiimote and Nunchuck, I love playing first-person shooters like that. And so, anyways, that's my first honorable mention. Let's hear yours.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So my first honorable mention is Beyond Good and Evil.
Okay.
This game. Did you ever play this game? Did you ever?
No, I did not.
Do you know what it is?
I know what the box art looks like. That's it.
Okay. So this game is fantastic. It's one of Ubisoft's best. Michel Ancel is the creator of it, and he's the guy who made Rayman and a bunch of other titles that are well known in the gaming industry. And so this is, if you're not familiar with it, definitely go play it. It's a relatively short game. It's not super long. It's only about 10 hours or so. And it's an action adventure title that basically has you star as Jade, a young woman who is a journalist, photographer, and you are essentially trying to and you're in an alien type world, but you're a human. There's a mix of aliens and humans that are being attacked by this other foreign alien race, and basically under their dominion, essentially. And you're trying to expose the corruption in your government that's going on. Obviously, like I said, you're a journalist, so it's a mix of stealth things, because again, you're sneaking around in places you shouldn't be, and action adventure. But what the real heart of this game is just the characters. The narrative is told so well. The voice acting is amazing. It's a really compelling narrative. Again, the whole idea of corruption and things being hidden and you seeking it out. It's really, really fantastically done. And that leads me to my next point, which is I've been looking forward to a sequel to this game for so long. Years. And we finally got it at this last year's E3, and I could not be more disappointed. Just a complete 180 of what the heart of the original game was. It even sounds like they're going to try to make it like a almost Destiny-style MMO, open, not shooter, but like, but man, they showed that trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it was just full of incredibly foul language and like, the new characters that were just annoying. They didn't even show the main character, Jade. They just showed the pig, who was this awful. Like the tone was just so off, in my opinion. And that's my rant about why I will probably never play Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. And let's. I'm going to watch a timer just because this is going to stretch for a while, because I realized we
Oh.
both talked for a while about our first honorable mention game. So
Okay, fair
so
enough.
let's keep it to like 15 seconds for each of the honorable mention games, and then
Ooh.
I know, and then we'll go 30 seconds to a minute for each of our
Okay.
lists. So here we go. Okay, so my next honorable mention game would be Rebel Strike Rogue Squadron 3, which was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was a great Star Wars game on GameCube, and multiplayer parts of it were really fun to do as well, taking on the Death Star. Good game. I liked it.
I like the second one better.
That was also good, but I owned 3, so that's why. So.
That'll do it. Fair enough. My second honorable mention is Pikmin 2.
Cool.
The original Pikmin has a lot of nostalgia value for me, but Pikmin 2 just has such refinement of that strategy. You no longer had the timer for the days. Like, you had an infinite number of days to complete your tasks, and it was really, really excellently done. Great multiplayer modes, too.
Cool. My last honorable mention is Lord of the Rings Return of the King, which...
The action game.
Yeah, it was fun. I played it with my wife when we were newlyweds, and got to the point where you could play as Aragorn and just press like B a bunch and do the ultimate combo. It was great. It was like Hyrule
Awesome.
Warriors version, beta, alpha for us.
Right.
So, anyways, that's my last one.
Honestly, I wish that somebody would get around to actually creating a Lord of the Rings RPG of just the story of the game. Sorry.
That'd be sweet.
Like, not a side story. And then my final honorable mention is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Ooh, yeah.
This was a multi-platform one, of course, but just really, again, another Ubisoft game that really knocked it out of the park for that system. All those systems. Great combat, fantastic combat. The time slowing down or reversing time mechanic was awesome. That you could go back and not screw up. And one of my favorite parts was just the way he told the story, because he's narrating the story. And so anytime you died, he would be like, "Oh, no, sorry, that's not how it went. Let me start again."
Yep. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right.
I don't want to mention.
Here we go into our top 5. For me, number 5, Star Fox Not Adventures, Star Fox Assault. That was a really fun game. I really liked Star Fox Assault. You can hate me for it.
I did not play Star Fox Assault. I played Adventures.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was not good.
It was okay. I think I played through it twice. Long game.
It was. Yeah, no. Assault was really fun. And it had a decent multiplayer too. So it was I spent a lot of time on Assault and thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's my number 5.
Awesome. My number 5 is a game that I spent so much time in, and also in its sequels, Animal Crossing. This was the original. Well, technically, I guess it was a Japan game on the N64, but they ported it to the GameCube. Excuse me. And this is where my obsession with Animal Crossing started. And it was a little clunky in terms of the controls and the way that it worked, but man, like those stories of going to my cousins and exchanging memory cards and all that stuff. It was it created a lot of great memories. So very cool.
Yeah,
that's Animal Crossing. Play it; it's great.
Have you played
where you can do mundanity and really enjoy it?
Yes. Have you played any more of your iPhone version?
No.
No.
I haven't opened it at all.
No, I know.
I need to. I really need to get back to it.
I know. It seems like there could be some enjoyment to be had, but there's so many other good games right now that aren't
so many
iOS.
Full-on games.
Yeah. So okay. My next one, number 4, for me would be F-Zero GX. It was so hard. I never beat it. I gave up. But
I don't think I even beat the first the first cup.
It's so hard. It's so stupid hard, but still really fun. And I when I hear Shigeru Miyamoto say like, that the reason they haven't done a proper F-Zero since then is, he doesn't know what to do. Apparently he isn't aware that people like to play online. Like F-Zero online, it seems easy.
That didn't happen. Yeah,
I know. So F-Zero GX is my number 4. It's a really hard game. I've never beaten it, and I still loved it, even though it was really frustrating.
I remember there was a mission, like a challenge mode in that game.
Yep.
It had lots of levels you could play through.
Yep, that's where
I got to level 2. I got to level 2, and I practiced it a long time. Never beat
it was those challenges that made me walk away from the game forever. So, So, anyways.
That's funny. All right, my number 4, and it's crazy that I had to put this here, but my number 4 is Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Just a really solid game, top to bottom. It's not highly regarded among a lot of people, but I just love, outside of the fact that the NPCs in that game were just dumb. I'm blanking on the name. What are those? Those large,
I know what you're talking about.
Flowery
with
people.
the
Yes,
hula
yeah.
skirt or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. But man, the mechanics in this
Delfino
game.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
This is
whatever.
gonna annoy me.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, so the structure was very similar to Mario 64. You had the different shrines that you would go into each world, but yeah, using the flood, the water backpack was awesome, and there are even levels that took your backpack away and you had to do traditional Mario platforming, which was super cool. But I just love the vacation type theme. It was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It was really just very well done. Even though some of the worlds seemed somewhat samey. I just watched a great video on the speedrunning of this game. Some fascinating stuff about the speedrunning of that game too. Check it out. I forget what it was. What the channel is. Well, it was linked to that Summoning Salt one.
Oh, Summoning Salt,
recently.
Yeah. Yep.
It was made by a different guy,
Okay.
but he says in the video that he was highly inspired by Summoning Salt.
Oh, cool.
So
I'll have to check that out.
Because it was one of the guys who was one of the speedrunners who was kind of competing for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, in Summoning
over a
Salt,
certain
the
time.
guy that makes those videos is a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out speedrunner, and that's how he got into making those. So,
There you go.
All right, cool. Well, on to number 3. For me, number 3 is Super Smash Bros. Melee. I played
Try again. Brawl?
Oh, for GameCube?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad. See, you got me in the Wii
I
era
know.
thing.
Sorry, with the Metroid thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Melee. I've spent a lot of time playing that game. A lot of time, and
Yeah.
it was so good. And then I realized, I thought I had gotten decent. But I was, in the grand scheme of things, I was a casual Melee player, but I played a lot of it. But I've learned much later that I was apparently terrible at it, because some people are still playing that game incredibly competitively, and there's no limit to the number of inputs you can enter. I guess the newer games cap it at like 8 per second, whereas like it was up to you. As good as you could be is what Melee would allow you to be. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, and I've seen some just stupid videos
Yeah.
of just like, have you seen that video of where like Fox and Falco are like fighting on Final Destination, but they're like fighting underneath the stage and
Yes.
like constantly
It's awesome.
just ridiculous.
It's awesome.
And yet they're still being, like, they're not just floundering around down there. They're being competitive and
Yeah,
like, and strategic and
they're
stuff.
fully confident being down there. So, yeah.
My word, it's crazy. So yeah, my number 3 has a similar vein. It's Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh, is it really?
It really
Wow.
is. Yeah.
We matched
You
up
know,
on one.
this is another game that I had a really big turnaround on. I had played some of the original Smash Brothers, and I saw the reviews for this game, and I was like, oh man, this looks really great. So I bought it, and I took it home, and I played a few matches, and I was like, cool, okay, I guess this is it. And then I started looking into it, and I realized, like, if you compare the very first Smash Brothers game to Smash Brothers Melee in terms of the content and to the amount of stuff you can do, it's mind-blowing.
Right.
Just like, the developers just like totally outdid themselves. Not only in the skill level, obviously the technical gameplay that they made, but also in just, man, it's like a Nintendo. They say that about a lot of Smash games. It's a Nintendo museum.
Yeah.
There's just, it's for fans of the fans of the fans. Just like, it's crazy how much there's to do.
Home run contest. The home run contest.
I know, right?
So much fun on that.
So awesome, and I got everything in that game except one stupid trophy, where you had to score points in every one of the bonus categories.
Oh, okay.
Like at the end of a match, and there was 1 or 2 in there that was just impossible to get. And I looked up strategy guides, I looked up all the things. I just couldn't do it, and so I had to admit defeat.
So a 99% completionist on that.
99.9%.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. All right, so on to number 2 then. For me, number 2 is, and this is my big surprise game, I think, is Super Monkey Ball 2. I played so much of that game. So much of that game on GameCube, and it was so
also a hard game.
It was so easy to get into it. The fact that it was move your joystick and you're moving.
Right.
You don't have to press a button. You're just moving a joystick, and that's all you do, and it was great. And I played a lot of multiplayer in that too, like the ramp launching where you like your ball opens
Monkey
up.
target.
Yes, the target was
that was super fun.
Oh man, Super Monkey Ball 2. It was.
I played a lot of the original Super Monkey Ball.
Oh really? Okay.
Actually quite a bit. I borrowed it from my cousin at one point and just poured a ton of time into that. It was super fun. Super fun.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the amount of fun, I can't say another game beat it, except for maybe my number 1. So, so let's hear your number 2.
Okay, this was a really hard decision for me between these two, but I think I had to, in the end, give my number 2 to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
All right.
And this, man, The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is one of my favorite games ever. And I will go on record as saying that when they initially revealed this game, I was not one of the haters.
Nice.
I was actually was pretty excited about it. I was like, oh, this is different, but hey, Nintendo knows what they're doing, right? This is Zelda.
Right.
They don't just mess around with Zelda. And it's just it not only is it was a great game when it came out, but now that I've played it on the Wii U with the HD remake, that is just the definitive way to play that game, and it's just the aesthetic of it and the charm and that really is the charm. The charm of that game is just wonderful, just beautiful, and I really it's a very deep game. It's excuse me, in terms of the combat. I think the combat in that game is probably one of the best combat systems Zelda has ever had.
Yeah.
Just so fluid, and it had like that musical artistry to it, where it would change the tones as you hit the enemies, and there were even sections where it was like a mini boss, and it would go along with the music. It was just very, very well crafted, and man, just such a solid endeavor. And again, I wouldn't necessarily want to go back and play it on the GameCube now. I would want to play the HD version on the Wii U because that's just perfect. But it's just such an incredible game, and it's gotten even better with age.
Yeah,
I think.
I would have included it on my list had I played it on GameCube, but I didn't play it until the Wii U remake. So I see it as a Wii U game, and it would rank right up there with me on my list of Wii U games. But yeah,
cool.
All right, on to number 1. My number 1 would be. And if you know anything about my tastes in video games, this probably isn't a surprise, but Mario Kart Double Dash.
Oh man, such a good game.
Yeah, I played a lot of Double Dash. As much as I played a Monkey Ball 2, I played more Double Dash. And Baby Park, I mean.
Oh man, love it. Just love it. I'm so glad they brought that back in Mario Kart 8.
And I think it's better in 8 as well. But
right.
But yeah, it's because the fact that you're just gliding the whole time, you're on the hover mode the whole time. But yeah.
And the 2-person mechanic, that's awesome.
Yes, that's because it allowed the extra item storage, which they opened up again in the Switch version. But the 2-person mechanic was really good. I never actually played 8-player. Which I know you could do with 2 GameCubes, but man, so much time playing Double Dash.
Did you play it with your wife?
I did, and she didn't like it. So
no,
she kept driving the wrong way and having Lakitu yell at her, and she didn't like it.
Oh, you're not supposed to give her the wheel.
Well, she wanted to do it. She's actually gotten quite decent at Mario Kart now. So we played a lot of 8 together. But
I played so much of that game with my buddy Zach.
yeah,
and he was always the item guy, and I would drive.
Nice.
Unless we had to do, unless I really needed a certain item or something, and then we'd switch. But then you could also toss the items back to the person in the back rather than having them drive. So usually I would be driving, and we had so much fun. I also really liked one feature in that game that hasn't really made it into the future games that I know of. It was the what did they call it? Special cup, or it was like all of the all 16 courses.
Oh right,
in one cup.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
so hard, but so fun to just to go through it and feel like you're conquering one thing at a time. And if you messed up on one race, you're like, oh, I guess I got several more.
I've just got to be good for a few races here to make up for it, as opposed to like, oh, I'm done.
Right.
Yeah. So
unlike and it was also the last Mario Kart game that was there before they implemented that evil 3-star system.
Yeah.
Which I hate because it makes me feel so inadequate.
I know, it's another carrot to dangle in front of me where it's like, yep, I'll go do that. I'll get 3 stars now and spend my life playing this. So, anyways, yeah, let's hear your number one.
All right, my number one GameCube game, which again, this was very, very difficult, but between those top two, is Metroid Prime.
Okay,
it's got to be.
Yeah.
And I don't want your fishy rules over there with your.
Hey, if we do a Wii list, it'll be there for me. So.
Okay. So yeah, this game was just so phenomenal. In that first of all, it was my first Metroid game.
Wow.
I never ever played a Metroid game before, and I heard such good things about it in the reviews. I was like, what is this? I gotta try this out. And honestly, when I first started it, I was a little bit like, man, this is really like messed up. Like kind of. I mean, you're alone in that. I mean, obviously that's what Metroid's all about, I guess. Now that I know. You're alone in that space station, and everything's just gone crazy, and you're investigating the aftermath of it, and it was so cool. Like the scanning thing where you scanned the stuff in the environment and you figured out what was going on was the first real case that I had experienced of environmental storytelling.
Sure.
And where you're just kind of piecing this together. And many games have kind of stolen that mechanic a lot. I'm sure it probably existed at some point, but never to this extent and never to this depth.
Right.
And so, as I progressed through it, man, you start building up these power-ups, and then going back to old areas that you've been to and discovering all the secrets, just like the classic Metroid games, the Super Metroid especially. And you just feel so good. You feel so cool when you do that. And one of my just like I loved how the difficulty ramped up towards the end of the game, and man, the final boss fight in Metroid Prime is probably my favorite boss fight like ever.
It's really good, really good.
It's so like it's hard. It took me several tries.
Yep.
And you just, especially at the very last stage of it. Okay, if you haven't played this game, it's like
yeah. Spoilers abound.
The statute of limitations, is when you finally beat that big creature, and all of a sudden it turns into this like really creepy looking what do they call it, Metroid Core Phazon Metroid. And it's just so creepy looking, and then you get that Phazon gun, and you just go to town on it. Man, you feel so awesome.
Yep, the way it kind of almost locks on and just like is just pulsing energy into it. It's sweet.
And the whole fight, you're using all of the skills that you've learned up until that point, and all the different Phazon beam or the different weapon types, just so well put together, and it's absolutely one of my favorite games ever.
Did you ever play it on the Wii with motion control?
Okay, so I own the collection because I was like, I have a Wii, and I at one point the collection was getting rare.
Yeah, it was.
And so I happened to find it in a GameStop someplace, and I bought it immediately.
Yeah.
But I still haven't actually played it yet.
Oh man.
And so I think I had intentions to go back and do it, but there was always just another game, and now I want it to come out on Switch, of course.
Right.
So even though that won't have the pointer functionality, well, I guess technically they could do it potentially.
Yeah, they should, because like for me that was the best. That was the best use of the Wiimote, was first-person shooters like that. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I played GoldenEye a bunch with that, and all of the Metroid Prime games, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, GoldenEye was great too.
yeah,
but
that's for another list.
Different system.
Yeah.
Yes, different list. So those are our top 5 GameCube games, dear listeners.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this this kind of retrospective look back at a fantastic system, criminally under-purchased.
I agree, 1,000% on that. It's such a good console. But.
So many great games.
Yeah. So, well, that I think that's the episode then.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about next time.
Yeah, let's do that. We will. I don't think we have an exact date for when we're going to record. We need to look at that.
We need to confirm that and get the information out to everybody.
Yeah, but we're gonna live stream that. We're gonna get together and hang out in person.
For Christmas break.
Yeah, it'll be the first episode we've actually been in the same room for. So. That'll be cool. So we won't have any of these.
Not have to worry about connection issues.
So we'll be doing that, and we'll be live streaming, and that way you, the listener, can interact with us and make fun of us on the show, and we'll ask. We might ask for any of you that are watching to participate. But that'll also be our end of year awards show. So we're gonna be handing out some awards that some developers won't be aware of, and that's.
But they're gonna fly in to
they
accept
will
them because they're very prestigious.
Right, they're very prestigious. So they don't even know. They don't even know. So there's so much they don't know. So anyways, so that'll be a regular episode that we'll be putting up for download, but while we're recording it. You will be able to interact with us, and that'll be on Facebook Live. That we'll be streaming that, and it'll be an experiment. It'll be our first time ever doing something like that, and we'll see how it goes. It should be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that info. But
check out the Twitter page or the Facebook updates and stuff. We'll keep you posted on that. But I actually am quite excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
We'll have to come up with a couple, obviously, Game of the Year, obviously, but we'll have to come up with some other categories, too, for Nintendo stuff, and maybe even some 1 or 2 non-Nintendo things that would be kind of fun, just to honorable mentions of other cool things going on
like
in the gaming world.
Best foods and stuff. So, or I'm hungry.
Best foods and games,
So,
something
cool.
like that.
All right, so that's the episode. Why don't you take us through the show wrap-up?
Yeah, let's go through it. So we would greatly appreciate your support, of course, on iTunes. If you would go there, find our show, and just give us a review, a 10-star review. You could even give us 13 or 14 if you want. They just all the stars.
Pack those stars into that review. So.
Just, we are a Nintendo podcast, so you've probably got some leftovers from Mario. And maybe throw in a few moons
we
there
could use them. I could use a lot more than Brad. So.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's right. And let's see. We had. By the way, did I tell you? I think at one point in Mario Odyssey, I had 666 moons.
Oh man!
It was just the way it showed up on my balloon there.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
Go get another moon.
It was scary. Then I got 777.
All right.
So
oh wow!
That made it better.
You just
You can check us out on Twitter, of course, at @N_directors. You can check us out on YouTube if you want to consume this through that. At our YouTube channel, just called Nintendo Directors. And if you want to be part of the show, you can write us an email or send us a tweet or whatever, but mostly through email. It's where we check it the most, probably. The email address is nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. Excuse me. Currently, like we said, we are looking to record. It'll be the week of Christmas, actually, between Christmas and New Year's. Again, not exactly sure which day it'll be, but it'll probably be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there. So that'll be our next episode that we're looking towards. It'll be our last one for the calendar year. Should be lots of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So sweet.
Any other thing for the good of the cause?
No, nothing.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Au revoir.